Turn on your tap right now, and something extraordinary happens. Clean water, on demand, at any hour, in any weather. You did nothing to earn it. You built nothing. You maintain nothing. Somewhere out of sight, a pump is running on electricity, pushing that water through pipes you have never seen, from a plant you could not find on a map. Every part of that chain depends on power. The pump needs it. The treatment plant needs it. The pressure in your pipes needs it. Cut the electricity, and the whole system does not slowly degrade. It stops. Within hours, the pressure drops. Within a day, the taps are dry or the water coming out is no longer safe, because pressure is the only thing keeping contamination out of the pipes. So you buy a filter, a good one, ceramic or hollow fiber, rated for thousands of gallons, sitting in a closet waiting for the day, and that filter is a real thing. It works, but look at what it actually is: a consumable, a cartridge with a lifespan. When it clogs, you replace it. When you cannot replace it, you have a plastic housing and a memory. Your entire water plan, from the tap to the emergency filter in the closet, depends on somebody else making something and shipping it to you. Meanwhile, a few hours from most American cities, there are Amish households that have not been connected to a municipal water line in the entire history of the settlement. No electric pump, no treatment plant, no filter cartridges, and they are not hauling buckets from a creek and hoping. They drink clean water every single day, through winter, through drought, through every blackout that has ever hit the county around them. And the blackout does not reach them, because there is nothing in their water system that electricity was ever holding up. They did not solve this with technology. They solved it with sequence. And the sequence is the part you can copy. Here is the thing most people get wrong about water. They think purification is a device. One object that dirty water goes into and clean water comes out of, that is the filter mindset, and it is the mindset that fails, because a single device is a single point of failure. The Amish approach treats water as a chain of stages, where each stage does one job and hands off to the next. No stage is asked to do everything. And critically, every stage runs on gravity, which does not need a grid, a cartridge, or a supply chain. Stage 1 is the source, and this is where the real work happens. The Amish do not start with the dirtiest water available and then fight to clean it. They start with the cleanest water they can get, because every bit of contamination you exclude at the source is contamination you never have to remove later. That means rainwater off a roof, and it means wells and springs. Roof water is already remarkably clean before it touches anything. It has been distilled by evaporation. It has no dissolved minerals, no farm runoff, no sewage. What it picks up in the last few feet of its journey, on the roof itself, and that is a problem you can solve mechanically. The solution is called a first flush diverter, and it is the most underrated piece of water equipment in existence. The idea is simple. The first water off a roof in any rainstorm is the dirtiest water. It carries the dust, the bird droppings, the leaf debris, everything that settled since the last rain. The water that falls after that first wash is dramatically cleaner because the roof has just been rinsed by the first water. So you build a device that throws the first water away. In its simplest form, it is a vertical standpipe next to your downspout. Rain comes down the spout and fills that standpipe first. When the standpipe is full, the water backs up and flows onward into your cistern instead. The dirty first flush water is now sitting in the standpipe, isolated, and you drain it out the bottom through a small hole between storms. Nothing about that requires power. There is no filter to clog. There is no moving part except water finding its level. It is physics doing your quality control, and it removes a large fraction of your contamination for a one-time cost of some pipe. Stage 2 is the cistern, and this is where the second thing happens that nobody expects. Storage is not just storage. Storage is treatment. An Amish cistern is a large tank, often below ground, often masonry or concrete, holding hundreds or thousands of gallons. Water sits in it, and while it sits, three things quietly happen. Sediment settles. Anything denser than water sinks to the bottom over hours and days. This is why the draw pipe in a good cistern never sits at the very bottom. It sits well above the floor, so you're always drawing from the clearest layer, leaving the settled material undisturbed beneath it. Darkness starves algae. A below-ground cistern with a sealed lid gets no light. No light means no photosynthesis, which means algae cannot establish. This is why cistern water stays clear, while an open barrel in your yard turns green in a week. And cold slows everything. Below ground, that water sits at ground temperature, far cooler than the air above it in summer. Cool water suppresses bacterial growth. The same reason your refrigerator works. So the cistern is not a passive bucket. It is a settling tank, a dark room, and a cooler, all at once, and it costs nothing to run because the ground is doing all three jobs for free. Stage 3 is charcoal, and this is the stage people rush to when it should be the last thing in the chain, not the first. Charcoal works by adsorption. Its surface is riddled with pores, giving a small handful an enormous internal surface area. Organic compounds, tastes, odors and many chemicals stick to that surface as water passes over it. It is genuinely good at what it does. But charcoal has a hard limit. That surface area is finite. Once it is covered, it stops working, and you cannot regenerate it at your kitchen sink. It is a consumable, exactly like the cartridge in your closet. The difference is that the Amish can make theirs. Hardwood, burned in a low-oxygen fire until it is charcoal rather than ash, crushed, rinsed until the runoff is clear, packed into a container that water flows through. That is it. It is a consumable whose supply chain is a tree in a fire. And because charcoal sits at the end of a chain that already removed the first flush filth, the sediment, and the algae, it is handling water that is nearly clean. It lasts a long time, because you never asked it to do the whole job alone. That is the entire lesson. The filter fails when it is the only stage. It thrives when it is the last stage. Now the honest part, because this is where a lot of channels will lie to you. This chain is excellent against sediment, organic matter, taste and odor, and it dramatically reduces biological load. It is not a magic wand. Charcoal does not reliably kill viruses. It does not remove dissolved salts. If your groundwater has arsenic or nitrate, charcoal will not save you, and neither will boiling. The Amish have a stage for that too, and it is the oldest one, heat. Bring water to a rolling boil and you have killed the pathogens. Full stop. It costs fuel, which is why it is the last resort and not the daily method, and it is exactly why the first 3 stages exist. Every stage upstream reduces how often you need to spend fuel on the stage that always works. That is the architecture. Exclude at the source. Settle in the dark. Adsorb at the end. Boil when it matters. Let me address the objection you are already forming. I do not have a cistern. I do not have a barn roof. I live in a house with a mortgage and a small yard. Then scale it down, because none of these principles care about size. A first flush diverter is a length of pipe on a downspout. A cistern is any dark, cool, covered container that lets water sit undisturbed, with a draw point above the floor. A barrel in a shaded corner does this. A charcoal stage is a bucket. You are not being asked to build a compound. You are being asked to stop treating water as a single device and start treating it as a sequence. And here is the principle underneath all of it. The one that outlives any specific build. The modern water system and the emergency filter in your closet fail the same way, for the same reason. Both are single points that somebody else manufactures and maintains. The grid pump and the ceramic cartridge look like opposites, but they are the same bet. That the outside world will keep functioning long enough to keep you supplied. The Amish system makes no such bet. It is not more advanced than yours. In every technical sense, it is less advanced. What it is independent. Each stage is simple enough to build, repair, and understand with your own hands. Nothing in it phones a factory. Nothing in it needs a grid. When the power goes out in the county, nothing happens in that kitchen, because nothing there was ever plugged in. That is not primitive. That is what resilience actually looks like when you strip the marketing off it. Not one clever device that does everything, but 4 dumb stages that each do one thing and never quit. Your tap will fail. Your filter will clog. Gravity will not. If this changed how you think about the water in your house, subscribe and stay locked in. because this is the first in a run of Amish methods we are breaking down here. And one more thing, everything you just saw was illustrated, because that is how we do it on this channel. If you want to watch these methods actually filmed on real footage, the cisterns, the diverters, the charcoal, the hands doing the work, we run a companion channel called Amish Trier, and the link is in the description below. Same methods, real footage. Go take a look. Stay sharp. Stay ready.